Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now.
I'm calling you and visiting you, not from my office today, but from the kitchen. Because I'm getting some work done on my office, so it'll be pretty and I'll be in a good space to introduce my guests and have great interviews. But that's not going to stop us today. We are going to visit with Ivy Caldwell. She's an amazing woman. Can you believe that she completed 30 children's stories within the course of 1 year? She had started some and she picked them back up and then just went rogue. I can't wait to hear them, and about them. She is a survivor of assault and abuse. And so we're going to talk to her about that and what survivors can take from her story to grow and develop and heal. She's also in 3 books, 3 anthologies, and she's going to grace us with a reading from her latest, Expose It. So let's welcome her to the edge right over there. Ivy Caldwell. Hi, beautiful.
Hi, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad to be had. Girl, because I've been working. I've been really working. So I am so glad to relax and sit down a minute and hear your story and your testimony. Can you tell us where it all began?
Where it all began? Wow, so much to tell. Well, my main book, Expose It, I had no intentions of writing it. But when the pandemic shut everything down in 2020, I was working from home, so perfect opportunity to pick back up my notebook, in which I had started in 2013 writing some children's stories. So I said, let me finish this. You know how that is. We start something, we put it down. So I picked it back up, and I was able to complete, and I wrote 30 children's stories, but they're yet to be published. But while in prayer one morning, the Holy Spirit said, you can't skip over this. And I was like, skip over what, Lord? Your story. So I had to sit there and really think about, my story. What is my story? So I said, okay, I will tell my story. And that's how Expose It came about. But before I even got to Expose It, March 2020, or was it this year? This year, March, April of this year, I had the opportunity to be in an anthology called Speak Up, We Deserve to Be Heard.
Oh,
now
hold
this
that
came
up just a little bit so we can see the whole thing. Oh, look at that. That's a beautiful cover.
This came about from George Floyd's death.
Oh, wow.
Where 40 African American women submitted their stories, and they liked my story. So my main theme was, America started on a lie. And until we start telling the truth, we're going to continue to have the problems that we have in our country. And out of the 40, you can see back here, it wasn't that many selected. But they did like my story. And where am I at?
Where you at? Look at you.
I'm right here.
Beautiful.
Right here.
Look at you. Look at you. All right now.
All right. So that's that anthology there.
That George Floyd thing was a cold piece, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Well, I mean, but he's just one of thousands.
Who you telling?
So we're going to speak about it and tell the truth. And it's still going on.
Yes, it is.
And, it's a lot of trickery there, but that's all right. To whom much is given, much is required, because I got word from up above that we the chosen people.
Amen. Amen.
That's
why we have such a hard time.
That's why we have such a hard time. But girl, there's glory on the other side. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And the other book came out this year. This was in November, Walking in My Purpose. Now, this is a story about 7 women who decided to step out of their comfort zone
Mm.
to tell their story. And I'm telling you, these women, we all have been through some things,
Mm.
but we use those painful things that we have experienced in life to help someone else along the way.
You turn that pain into a purpose.
Yes, ma'am. And that's where we are today. We are all walking in our purpose.
Mm. So tell us a little bit about your story, your personal story.
Yes, ma'am. And here's my personal story right here.
Expose it.
Expose it. Let your healing process begin.
Mm.
In order to be healed, we must expose it. We have to start talking about it, or it's just there. You have these thoughts, it's haunting you. Then you have this fear. What will people say about me? What will they think about me? But you have to come to a point in your life where you can care less what others have to say about you. They talked about Jesus, right?
Okay.
Yes, they did. And they're going to continue to talk about you until you leave here. So why not tell your story so you can be free and be healed?
But you know what I realized? If they're not talking about you, you ain't doing nothing.
Right.
I said, you know what? People pay me to ride on their tongue. So go right ahead. Go right ahead. Talk about me.
Yeah, talk about you. If you ain't doing nothing, talk about you if you're doing something. So
That's
hey, go ahead and do what you got to do. All right, so I would like to share an insert from my book, Expose It. So it was on my 9th birthday, and I was wondering what great gifts I would get that day. I felt like the happiest little girl in the world. Then I got a phone call, and on the other end of the phone call, I heard the caller say, I have a surprise for you today, and I need you to come by and get it. My mind began to anticipate and wonder what it could be. Later that day, as I headed to my mother's boyfriend's house, remembering skipping down the street with such joy in my heart, I had to go up the stairs to get into his house because he lived on the upper level and I was alone. As I walked in there, I remember there was an aroma of these seasonings he used to mix together whenever he cooked. He told me to sit on the couch, and I can remember he was watching a football game. After a few minutes while I was seated, he began to unbutton my navy blue shirt with clear buttons. I remember moving his hand and telling him to stop, but he didn't. That day forever changed my life. I was molested on my birthday, and no matter what I had done on that day, he already had intentions in his mind what he was going to do that day. This was the beginning of the happy-go-lucky little girl becoming an introvert. I was molested on my birthday. So I share that story in this book, Expose It. I talk about the low self-esteem that I had as a little girl growing up into a woman. I talk about how I didn't like myself, I didn't like my name, and never told anyone what happened to me, not even my mother. And I did have the opportunity to tell my mom because some months went by. He ended up moving in with us.
Oh, Lord.
And he knew I didn't like him, and my mom knew. So one day my mom did ask me, well, why don't you like him? So I'm thinking, as this little girl, 9 years old, this is my out. When I told her exactly what happened, what he did to me, my mom looked at me and she said, girl, ain't nothing happened to you. It must have been something you saw on TV.
What?
So that even shut my voice even more. So if you didn't have your mom, your support system there to have your back, when my dad wasn't in my life, I was on my own.
Mhm.
I was living in the house with this gentleman, well, not a gentleman. And he would taunt me, going around like this, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. But he never got me, but he taunted me. So I have this fear, this anger, and unforgiveness in my heart as a little girl towards this man. I share many other things in here about, in our community, what goes on in this house stays in this house. Those family secrets, they lead to generational curses. And it's time for us to stop hiding things and sweeping them under the rug and speak truth to it so that we all can be healed and set free. So
Well,
that's
it is epigenetics, and hurt people hurt people.
yes.
And your mother was there trying to raise. Were you the only child?
No,
How many?
no, I had an older sister and 3 younger brothers.
And
But
so
my-
did he try to push up on your sister or your
I
brothers?
have no idea. I have no idea. My sister has her own issues. She doesn't talk to anyone. So who knows? Maybe. I don't know.
Wow. It reminds me of the book I read by Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings.
Yeah.
And molestation comes in so many different forms. I was talking to my aunt, and I was telling her about a little girl that was murdered here. And she goes, yeah. And I said, and she was choked. Well, me, I'm thinking she was strangled. She was strangled because he inserted his penis in her mouth and choked her till she died. And I had no idea of just the trauma because, like I say, by the grace of God and my mother, I've never been violated.
Yeah.
I've never been violated by, I had a boyfriend one time, girl slapped me. It only took one time because it was on and popping. He ain't gonna slap nobody else, okay? I was like, I called him a barrage of nasty things. It was on, we was scrapping. But I realized on that day that wasn't me. So I don't provoke situations. I'm married to a man of 37 years. And I tell you, in 37 years, he has never called me out of my name. And I appreciate that. Not that he was supposed to, but you get into some heated conversations and you pick some choice words and he doesn't pick those words.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that feels, and for a young girl to go to her mother and her mother not believe you, but your mother had her own set of trauma. She's trying to raise 5 kids.
Yes.
She got this man, she got this man that's going, drop a little money on the gas and electric, maybe bring in some grocery, help pay the rent. You ain't gonna chase him away.
Right.
And so I can see how that can happen. But mothers, you need to listen to your daughters.
Yes.
You can tell when they're lying. And it's the way that you probe these questions. Let your child do the talking and you do the listening.
Yes.
If they have nothing else in life, they should be able to trust their parents.
Yes.
I told my daughter as growing up, I said, if mama gives you a bath or, daddy comes in the bathroom and makes you uncomfortable, speak up.
Right.
You have the choice. This is your body. This is precious. And as you grow up, don't let people violate you and disrespect you.
Right.
We got a friend of the family that likes to be choked. But yeah, that's a sexual thrill for them that they get choked.
Wow.
But how you just gonna let somebody choke you until you pass out? Who does that?
People do that.
They do all kinds of stuff. But also there are people like you that are brave enough to come forward and talk about it. There's a lot of people that don't talk about that.
Right.
Because again, as my mother said, that's giving you ammunition to fight you with. One thing that concerns me though, is when I talk to women, a lot of times they use that as their preference. Hi, I'm Betty, and I'm a victim of sexual assault. Again, you're already laying the groundwork for people to judge you. I wonder what he did. I wonder how much she's going to say. I wonder how intense it was. I wonder how long it went on. Instead of saying, hi, I'm Betty. I'm a successful businesswoman. I've got, this, I've done this, that. But as a result of that, I've arrived at this point because I had trauma or I had sexual abuse in my life. If you
And I'm
put
an
it towards,
overcomer.
that's
Yes.
right. If you put it
Yeah.
at the back end,
Yeah.
you've warmed people up to who you are now, and
Mhm.
you've dulled them down to who the person that you were.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you go out and you speak and you read your book, how are you introducing your story to women? And
Yeah.
what is the feeling in the room?
Yes. Yes. I start with, I am a wife of 27 years, a mom of 4 young adult men. I'm an ordained elder. I am the founder of Footprint Enterprises, which is a faith-based organization which helps those who are ready to confront their past emotional trauma through strategies that I have developed through my coaching program. I let them know about what I'm doing right now and how I will be able to help them get through what they have experienced.
Exactly. And you raised 4 men.
Yes.
What did you pour into those men?
Yes. Well, I didn't let my boys go spend the night over anyone's home, friends or family. Family, why? Because we have incest in our family. We have drug addiction in my family. We have alcoholism in my family, in my bloodline. So my job as their mom was to protect them. I didn't tell them what happened to me, but now when I, wrote the book, I talked to each one of them to let them know this is why mom didn't let you go spend the night over here and over there. It was my job to protect you. And right now, these young adult men, they appreciated that. Mom, I'm glad you didn't let us go. They were raised in the church. That's how I poured into my sons, by protecting them.
Right. And protection is key. We always really, we more so focus on women because women will come forward and they will speak their truth. They'll tell it.
Yeah.
Because we tell everything,
Yeah.
that's how we heal. We're
Right.
empaths. That's how we communicate. But men suppress.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And there's a real deep shame associated with it. Some men don't survive it. They commit suicide or they take on other sexual fetishes. They get addicted to pornography. They are abusive to women. But I tell you something that I've noticed. I noticed a lot about mommy issues.
Mm-hmm.
And women, you want to pay attention to that. Check out how your man talks about his mother, his aunt, his grandmother, his sisters, because that is a key indicator of how he's going to talk about you. It's tried and true. Tried and true. And you have to pay attention to those signs. It's so difficult for women to fall back into love. How was it for you to really, when you got to a point that you could enjoy intimacy and relationships, did you have a hard time struggling with that? Because abusers don't want to harm you. They want to intimidate you, but they want you to have a certain gravitas, a certain allure to them, because that's what makes it pleasurable. And then you mature into your own sexual being, you get these triggers and you're like, oh, this is not right. This is shameful. I'm not supposed to feel that way. How did you break that cycle?
For me, the main thing is trust. Can I trust this individual? And it does take time as you begin to let those barriers down and those walls come down. But I do, thank God for saving my soul and healing me from that trauma, where I can now have a successful marriage.
A lot of women don't even talk to their partners about the trauma that they experience because they feel that they're going to be judged or they're going to be shamed.
Right.
Or this is going to be, something that they can taunt them with. So I commend your husband for being a support mechanism for you and loving you, and allowing you to be who you are.
Yes.
Because it is a challenge. Yes. It is a challenge. So what would you tell a 9-year-old Ivy today?
Keep speaking up. Keep speaking your truth until someone pays attention. I think about children in school, they may be lashing out and they give them all these labels, they're bad, they're no good, they're not going to amount to anything, but something is wrong somewhere. Parents have to pay attention to the signs. If your child was an introvert and all of a sudden now they're just lashing out, something is going on.
Mhm.
Or if they were very outgoing, now all of a sudden they're withdrawn. They're stuck in their room. What's going on? That's not your child. Something has happened. So pay attention. They do let us know, but it's in a non-verbal way.
Mhm, mhm.
We have to pay attention.
And they do it through song. They do it through stories. Look at some of the pictures that they're drawing. Look
Yeah.
at some of the movies that they're watching. Check for them being introverted. If they're not eating, if they're afraid to go in their room,
Yeah.
if they have a twitch or a nervous energy around someone.
Right.
And watch that person.
Yes,
You know?
yes. I can remember because I did do daycare for about 14 years. And there was this one young boy, you give them paper to draw, and he would draw with knives and blood. Okay, that's not normal. Something's going on in the home. It's like you really have to pay attention. And when these kids come on the scene, parents, it's no longer about you. I'm sorry, baby. It's about that child being there for them. Yeah.
And look at the pattern of behavior of the person that you're getting with. Women too. Because don't think that there are not women that are molesters. There was, what was that one woman that had that sexual relationship with her student and ended up having 2 kids by him and put in jail and all that. So there's women that are into pedophilia too. Don't think that it's just all men.
You're right. I experienced that as well as a little girl.
And I had a friend that her sister would violate her.
Jesus.
And now she is, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Wow.
Yeah, she's really traumatized because the mother, oh no, your sister? Oh, your sister? And and the sister was a cold piece.
Yeah.
And so, getting beyond that. So now you're in a new place, you're in a place of joy, you're in a place of happiness. What do you do for fun and recreation? What do you do to make yourself just happy?
I like laughing.
Yeah.
My husband, we laugh at one another. He'll look at me and say, you're one funny lady. So I'll be like, no, you the funny one. You're funny. We make one another laugh. I enjoy watching movies, just relaxing on my chair here with my legs up in my blanket, just to relax and unwind.
I know, and that's what I do. I have learned to garden, and I'm picking up more books. I had really kind of stopped reading. And when I was reading, I was trying to read it so fast. I don't have to read fast.
Yeah.
I have to read I'm not reading for entertainment, I'm reading for information.
Yeah.
And it's different. And so I'm going to go back to writing. I'm writing a new book, my 4th.
All right.
And it will be called 365 Days.
All right.
And every day we learn something new.
Yes.
What has this pandemic taught you?
It has taught me when we were all shut in our homes, it was a time for us just to sit, be quiet. All right, now what am I going to do now? Because there were things in each and every one of us that we may have put off or not even thought about, but things were birthed through the pandemic. Many businesses were birthed through the pandemic. I
know, because folks don't want to go back to work now. You notice that?
You're right about that.
There's an overabundance of applicants, vacant spaces for work now.
Right.
But what it really taught me was self-reflection. I really got to analyze what was important to me. I lost my mom during this pandemic, and it wasn't to that, but it really gave me a heightened sense of awareness. I got to see a soul leave the body, which was amazing. I'm bent, but I'm not broken.
Yeah.
And so it taught me really how precious each moment is. You know, we always shooting that around, just kind of throwing that out. But it's not, we don't live by day. We live moment by moment.
By moment, because we don't know when we're
You
leaving.
don't know when you're coming, and you don't know when you're going.
Yeah.
And so I am so grateful for this podcast and this medium, because it's opened up a conduit for people to come through and tell their story, for them to, market and promote themselves, to find healing, to connect with other people around the world, because we now in 56 countries. And it has just really, really been a blessing to me to be able to be a communicator.
Amen.
And to have a voice. And so we say all of this to you, Brains, is that speak your truth.
Yes.
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
That's right.
And there's nothing wrong with it. And if somebody judges you, let that be a teachable moment. Give them an education, because believe me, we are not going to leave here without our own bumps and bruises and scars. That's just how it's going to go down.
Right.
And men, speak up.
Yes.
Speak up. Don't be trapped inside of this. Don't become a perpetrator.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a victim. Because one day you're going to get married, and one day you're going to have a daughter.
Right.
And you're going to pray to God that nobody does anything bad to her. And if they do, she's going to be like me and give them the 1-2.
Right. Yes. I just had a conversation with someone who was abused as a little girl, and the person that did it is sick now. So she said, I had to go speak to them because they're not going to die on my watch. And I never spoke to what they did to me. Been carrying this load around for years, and it wasn't your fault. So she was like, I'm putting it back on you. I'm not going to carry it anymore. So she had to go confront that person and release herself from that. And that's what we got to do. We got to stand up for ourselves.
We do. And we have to stand out for others. So tell me a little bit about the programs that you're running and how my brains can get in contact with you. They want to do some deep diving. They want some spiritual counseling. They want some good tips on even childcare, because you did it for 14 years. Girl, I did it for like 2 years. And the mistake I made is I had them all the same age. I didn't stagnate my ages because I was trying to stay home and take care of my daughter too, baby. I was the queen of the potty training though. I
know that's right.
Miss April could potty train them in 3 days and they'd be happy.
Right.
They would be, because these young parents don't get it. Potty training is not a punishment. It is a training. You teach them how to use the fork. You teach them how to brush their teeth.
Right.
You teach them how to walk. You teach them how to talk. You got to teach them how to go to the toilet. And
no, they'll go when they get ready. No. Train. What does train mean?
That's
teach,
right.
Me make.
Yeah, so, I was the queen of it. And their mother would be like, what? I said, now look, I done did this work all week. And now they're telling you got to go, and they squinching and all this kind of stuff. You have a responsibility to take them.
Right.
So you got to get the chi out. So tell them a little bit of how to get in contact with you.
Right. You can go to my website, footprintenterprisesllc.com, or you can email me, Ivy at footprintenterprisesllc.com. For the footsteps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Everything that we have gone through in life, God is well aware of what has happened, and there is a purpose for it. I will be kicking off my coaching program at the top of the new year. I will have 2 courses going on. I have a 6-week course where you come in and I teach you these 5 steps, how to start your emotional healing journey. And then I have a coaching program going through, which will be running for 12 weeks. So if you're interested, you can contact me through my email, or you can DM me on Facebook. My name is Ivy Caldwell.
Well, Ivy, you have definitely been a blessing. And thank you so much for sharing your truth, coming here on the edge, and really, just being real with it and relax with it and not still being traumatized. because a lot of people are still in that space.
Yes.
And when you are in that space, and once you release it, it's all right to let it go.
Yes.
You know? You are only a victim of your circumstance if you allow it.
Right.
You know? So thank you so much. All of our information is going to be at the back end. All of the books are available on Amazon. We want you to love, like, share, and subscribe. That's important.
Yes.
That's how people are going to get the word out. They say 1 in 4 women are victim of assault or abuse. We got to break that cycle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We really do. So thank you so much for being here on The Edge, Queen. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye, Grace.